Good morning. How are you doing? Happy Monday. So excited to be here. As you are coming in, just taking lip gloss off of my fingers right now. As you're coming in, let me know how you're doing. I can't wait to jump into this live. I might stay on longer just to run my mouth about it because I feel like it's a really good topic, especially as you could be oops, I'm moving myself. As you are or could be a self-concept coach, a manifestation coach, a mindset coach, primarily a law of assumption coach, and I will explain to you toward the end of the video why that is and how I'm just looping in what I'm sharing with you today into the law of assumption, because I'm essentially mixing in what I've learned in my certification program as a life coach practitioner. For those of you who are just curious, my background is that I do have a not law of assumption, but a life coach practitioner certification, and I'm just pairing that with what I've learned in my recent years of just picking up on the law of assumption and how I weave in what I've learned in my skill sets into this new law, and how it's really dramatically transformed my life and my self-concept. And if you are interested in just hearing more about how that came about and how you could slowly get yourself into being more familiar with self-concept or the law of assumption, or maybe you've heard of it and you just absolutely love it, just like me, and you want to perhaps start to examine your manifestation process so that you can materialize even that much quicker. Because if you are in the community, you already know that manifesting being or just materializing desire is instant. And so you never have to guess that it is not coming. You never have to guess whether you mess it up. You never have to essentially doubt that it's on the way, because what it is that you assume is real. And so I'm going to dive in. I don't have any specific notes, but just again, for those of you who are interested in hearing more about the beliefs, thoughts, feelings cycle, just wanted to kind of share my perspective on what it means to me. And hopefully as you are again transitioning into a higher self-concept, this is going to allow you to easily make those shifts and those transformations. And so when you think about your desire, you're not thinking about it in a way that you are separate from it. You are thinking about it in a way that you are one with it, and you are assuming that essentially, so that once you have embodied it enough, it actually shows up on the screen of space and time. So amazing topic of reference. And for those of you who are interested in joining my program, please feel free to reach out to me via DM, especially if you are interested in working with me one-on-one in just right now in a one-on-one capacity for the year of 2023, because we're heading into the last quarter, and I want to be sure that you get all the tools that are necessary along your journey that will allow you to materialize desire quickly, because I make sure that you have all the tools, and it's kind of like a done with you services. I know that I shared a done for you, I shift your version for you. But essentially, it's up to you to maintain those shifts, okay? And of course, with my one-on-one help, we can get you there fairly quickly and materializing desire fairly quickly. Enough rambling. Let's get into what I really wanted to speak about, which was the BTF cycle and what I mentioned in my stories about it, and how I've been experiencing it myself, and why it's so important to keep it in mind for when you are materializing desire. So let's start with the first, by the way, so the BTF cycle means beliefs, thoughts, feelings, okay? And so when I talk about shifting, when I talk about identity and all of that. It's really a system that I speak of. As you are shifting your beliefs into a state where you are actually like experiencing those beliefs. So whether those beliefs are aligned or false, you are experiencing those beliefs, period. And once those beliefs are experienced, you kind of are not, you're not conscious to the point of already having that belief until you're experiencing that belief. So this is why like beliefs and feeling states more so go hand in hand than thoughts do. And I know that some of you who are in the manifestation community or just like the mindset community hear a lot of like, okay, well, you have to think positively, like you have to think in a positive light and always think positively. And like, I feel like that's okay and that's fine. But when you are experiencing or wanting to experience a completely different experience where you are not pressuring yourself about being positive all the time and not feeling and feeling guilty because you're not feeling positive all the time or thinking positively all the time, that's where I draw the line between positive thinking and actually being and materializing what it is that you want to experience. So you do not have to, in my opinion, from my experience life from a positive lens always, all the time. That is far from what materializing desire actually is, from my experience, that you don't have to always think positive. You don't always have to think about your high self-concept. You don't always have to I am. You don't have to robotically engage with yourself in this manner, especially if it doesn't feel like you are doing it in a manner that is serving to you and serving to your overall being state. So what you've heard about just overall positive thinking, always, thinking positively, and how you can only experience your desire through thinking positively, that hasn't been the case for me, and I've still been able to materialize my desire. So don't feel like you have to be this particular way or else you will not get your desire. I think when it comes to positive thinking and positive affirming and just moving yourself from a space where you are consumed by negative beliefs and like feeling states, it's more so soothing yourself. So if you could soothe yourself into the knowing that, first of all, that you are safe, and it just goes back to emotional self-regulation, which I wasn't really going to bring up in this live, but if you feel like you are being consumed by negative emotion, negative thoughts, there is a false belief that is materializing. So keep that in mind, that it is not about the false beliefs, because we're not even getting to the root cause of why you are experiencing these false beliefs and these false emotions and these false feeling states, right? It is the root cause. So it will always go back to what is in the subconscious mind as far as your aligned, or in this particular case, your false belief. So this is why you're always having this battle. You're always experiencing this battle, and you want to shift in a way that is seamless and sort of automated. Like, you want to be able to shift into the feeling state of already having without feeling like you have to work for it. Without feeling like you have to consistently battle yourself back and forth about getting into the state, or not knowing that you're in the state, or doubting if you are doing it right? It just feels so sticky and just not the natural way of how you would shift anyways. So this is why I want to come out and actually share this BTF cycle, because I feel like it's so important that when you are materializing desire, that you know exactly why you are shifting and how you will be making that shift. And so let's go back to what I mentioned is the root cause of you perhaps not being able to experience your desire fairly quickly, because again, you're supposed to be able to experience your desire extremely quickly. It happens in an instant from the moment that you decide that you are the version of yourself that already has your desire. So let's go to beliefs. Let's think about ways we can shift our beliefs into automatically downloading those thoughts and feeling states that come along with those beliefs. So this is again why you're having these hot and cold results or inconsistent results. It's because you keep battling with your subconscious mind about what you believe and what you assume as real in your life experience, and just like what you assume is real for yourself. So it's not only your life experience and what you're seeing on the outside, it has much more to do with your self-concept and how you see yourself to be. That is shaping and creating your reality. So when I mention this acronym, this beliefs, thoughts, feeling states acronym, BTF Cycle, it's really you going through the cycle from beliefs, thoughts, feeling states, or reverse, which I'll be talking about very shortly, that you're actually going to reframe and shift your identity. Like the self-concept of yourself reflects in those beliefs, those thoughts, those feeling states. So if you were to shift into the version of yourself that already has your desire, you would first want to shift into the beliefs that that version of yourself already has. So you get to think like them, that person, which is your future self or your quantum self, and you get to feel like them. You get to feel those emotions and you get to live in those emotions. And how you can best do that is by giving yourself those imaginal experiences. So, and you don't even have to be really good. I'm just going to say this, like, you don't have to be good at any of this. Like, you don't even have to be a pro at understanding the BTF cycle. You don't have to be a pro at quantum leaping. You don't have to be a pro at most of this. I would say that if you want to be really good at this, you would place yourself in a feeling of knowing that you can emotional self-regulate whenever you need to emotionally self-regulate. And that is the ability to be able to determine that is whether you're self-aware of what false beliefs could be popping up to you, because you want to be aware of what you no longer want to experience. You want to be aware of the false beliefs that are appearing real so that you can reverse engineer those thoughts, that you can, I meant to say reverse engineer those beliefs so that you could start to experience those aligned beliefs. Think about it. Think about how you are experiencing life and the particular area. And it's very common that we experience the same hiccups in life. Human consciousness is just amazing in that sense, just because we're all connected and we're experiencing the same or similar traumas. We're experiencing the similar life experience as it comes to us experiencing false beliefs over and over again. So on a more common basis, we are experiencing lack. On a more common basis, we are experiencing separation, which could be separation from what we really want, which is love, joy, fulfillment, abundance. Like, we want to start to experience an enhancement of life, which could allow for you to also experience what you already have, and experience what you already have in a state of gratitude and appreciation. So for those of you who are in the law of assumption community, the self-concept community, you know that there is nothing to change but self. So when you know that there is nothing to change but self, the only thing that is keeping you away from actually experiencing your desire becomes just awareness. It becomes just awareness. And so when you shift your perspective, and I use perspective and awareness in the combination of like knowing, like just the same word is like perspective awareness, you start to realize certain things about yourself that you did not realize before, right? Like when you shift out of false beliefs, you start to not just experience yourself in a different way, but you also experience others a different way. You experience life itself a different way. You start to think differently. You start to feel differently. And so when you get to, again, like the root cause of why you're thinking and feeling this way, this is going to allow you to create momentum around realigning your beliefs into desired beliefs versus false beliefs. So, and I explained in my stories, that I flipped that cycle backwards. I started with thoughts. Thoughts wasn't the best way. Feeling states I'm getting more into right now, especially because I've already been emotionally self-regulated, self-mastered. Emotionally self-mastered. I wouldn't say that I am like a genius. Again, you don't have to be a master at this in order to be really good at it. The only thing that is keeping you away from experiencing your desire is your self-awareness. What you are noticing about who you are in your relation to your desire in this world, on this planet, in relation to the universe and how it's reflecting back to you exactly what you are being. That's mainly what I want to share with you. I do have some journal prompts that would be highly beneficial for you on this, just this overall stage of getting rid of your false beliefs and realigning those with your desired beliefs. And I want to get more specific about this because if you are looking to experience a version of yourself that has everything that you want, more primarily in the finance field, because a lot of us who have been through a lot of, like, not a lot, but our fair share of false beliefs in the lack and the victimhood mentality. Again, we've been programmed to experience life this way. So don't beat yourself up about something that you didn't have full control over. It's more like, what are you going to do with those false beliefs after being consciously aware that those false beliefs were being programmed into you? So what are you going to do now about those false beliefs that will not continue to rematerialize into you experiencing these, again, the false beliefs, the victimhood, the lack mentality, all the things that are showing up for you that you do not want to experience anymore? What are you going to do about those? And this is why I emphasize on emotional self-regulation, and I cannot stress it enough, and I will continue to share that with you, is because emotional self-regulation is not even looked at when we are materializing desire, and it's the one thing that is going to allow us to consistently increase our self-awareness so that we can start to realize certain aspects of ourselves that we would not be able to realize if we are in fight or flight, if we are dysregulated, if we cannot give ourselves the imaginal experience. You have to be able to give yourself these emotions. You have to be able to shift yourself into safety, security, and stability, right? I shift you, of course, into those feeling states. What are you going to do when I'm not present with you, when we're right out of our one-on-ones and you feel amazing and you want to get back to that feeling state that I shift you into? What is the cycle? Like, what is the system that you will go through on a day-to-day basis, whether that be, a few times a day or, once a day? That's up to you. But the more and more you touch on this feeling state of being stable, secure, safe, you can build on that awareness. You could build on that perspective to then assume what it is that you want to assume and successfully maintain that desired feeling state. Because the goal is to embody our desire. We want to make this materializing desire very simple for the world, for others, for the universe to pleasantly reflect that back to us. And when you get a good grasp of it, it's going to be like clockwork, right? So you could either do it from the shifting of feeling states, or you could do it from the shifting of your false beliefs. And I really do believe that once you are emotionally self-regulated, that you do it the BTF method way, like you go just through, like you just flesh out all of the false beliefs that are materializing, that you are consciously aware of course, because you cannot just like completely, if it was that easy to just completely wipe out our false beliefs, we may not even be here, because it keeps us alive. Some of them keep us alive to this point, and we probably would not exist without actually experiencing those and like consciously being aware of what we could just start to let go, so that we can shift into a better, more aligned and preferable life experience. So the beliefs, thoughts, feeling states are the best way that I have experienced, that my clients have experienced, that have been the best method for them to shift into their high self-concept and their desire embodiment. And when you get good at this, when you start to remind yourself of what you assume to be real for you and what you assume that your feeling states are versus what you are fighting against, you can actually start to realize that you are shifting into the version of yourself that already has your desire. And instantly, when you shift and you are starting to embody even just a little bit of the desire, it really starts to show up. Like, that's how easy and like that's how simple it is. I wouldn't say it's easy, because of course everything is a practice, but when you start to get really I would say like anchored into like how you feel when you are in your desire, you are just not going to notice a difference. You're going to be at that point, you're going to be detached from your five senses to the point where like whatever shows up, and this is where emotional self-regulation comes in, whatever shows up for you that is in disalignment or just not who you are again or anymore, then you could just completely discard it and go back into imagination and experience that desire embodiment until it shows up, right? And it should turn around fairly quickly the more and more you get anchored in your desire, desire embodiment. I think that's what I wanted to share with you. I want to also share a journal prompt for those of you who have gotten this far in the live and are curious as to what this cycle is going to look like if you tailored it to what it is that you are wanting. So going back to the most common desire that we all want to experience is freedom. Freedom does it for me. I just want to experience freedom in all aspects of my life, but I also know that there is so much freedom and freedom creation in emotional freedom first. So as I'm growing in my business, as I'm growing just as Tanika, as myself, I'm realizing that emotional freedom and emotional wealth is really what I want to achieve and what I truly want to embody. And it's through that emotional wealth and emotional freedom that I will be able to materialize what it is that I want to materialize. Because once I have that emotional wealth and emotional freedom, the universe has no choice but to reflect that back to me in ways that I get to experience that over and over and over and over again. So if you are wanting to experience financial freedom, it's because you want emotional freedom and emotional wealth. It is because you want to start to expand yourself to the version of yourself that already has everything that you want, but you're also embodying this in a way that is contagious, and you're also showing others just effortlessly how to embody their desires as well. It's really like it's a domino effect. When you start to embody your desire, others see it and others see how simple you make it. And therefore, you're really encouraging them from thought transmission. And I want to get into that at a later time. But like telepathy, thought transmission, emotional transmission, like all of that is real, right? So just because we don't see it does not make it non-existent. It's completely real, and it's definitely been showing up a lot for me in my relationship. So I want to be sure that you are aware of this, is that once you achieve this level of emotional self-regulation, this mastery, it's a freedom, it's a wealth, right? It's a wealth mindset, it's a wealth embodiment. And it's almost difficult for you not to embody exactly what you are being on the inside without it pleasantly reflecting back to you exactly what you are being. It's impossible. And that's why I love the law of assumption, is because the law of assumption shows you exactly what you are being in every area and aspect of your life. So the quickest and the surest way to materialize what it is that you are desiring right now is to ask yourself, and this is the journal prompt that I want you to write down if you've come this far in the life, is to write down, what are you recognizing as real? What are you recognizing as real in your beliefs? What are you recognizing as real in your thoughts? And what are you recognizing as real in your feeling states? And these answers are going to be very telling for you. So if you actually do this activity, please let me know. I would love to hear about what you arrive to once you ask yourself these questions. This question is actually going to shift you into the version of yourself that already has your desire automatically. So for those of you who are just interested in learning about how this beliefs, thoughts, feeling states cycle is going to work, it's going to work by a series of journal prompts and what you pose as questions to yourself, but it's really questions to your higher self. And once you get into that version, the more and more will show up for you, meaning like the more answers will show up for you and the more feeling states will show up for you. So that's what I want to share today. I'm going to quickly just summarize what I mentioned. I know it's a lot. And again, for those of you who were interested in reaching out to me, I am going to be opening up the cart, or just, having my applications open for the month of September, but it's going to close very soon. So I advise you to let me know as soon as possible that you are interested in learning more about your self-concept and how you're going to materialize desire very quickly. And this could happen in a number of weeks. It's definitely happened for me and for my clients within a number of, hours for my clients, because I automatically shift them and they're like, wow, like I actually have what it is that I want. And so it's really doesn't have to be weeks or months. It's instantaneous. So once you realize that, again, there is nothing to change but self, it really comes down to asking yourself questions that will allow you to shift your perspective and your awareness to experiencing what it is that you want to experience. And this is really interesting. If you really go through these questions and you are experiencing answers that you are opposing, right? Let's stay with me for a minute. You are experiencing answers that you are opposing, that you are just not giving yourself, right? That is a sure way to know that you are rematerializing your false beliefs, just by answering those questions and noticing that you are not experiencing those answers right now. Because what you believe to be real is what you assume to be real for yourself. It's a thing about what your self-concept, it's a thing about what you believe about yourself and what you can receive, and shifting into what you know you can receive. So if you're noticing that you are answering these questions and you are experiencing resistance or separation, and you're sort of like battling with yourself as to why you're not seeing this happening, or experiencing the feeling state, at least, it's because you're in a resistance frame of mind. Like, you're in a resistance, and you have to be able to release, again, those false beliefs before you can receive those feeling states. So it's okay if you are experiencing this. It's the reason why you want to at least give yourself the time and the effort to answering these questions, because they're going to be very telling for you. If they don't shift you into already having, there is an existing false belief. So always keep that in mind. I think that's all I wanted to share with you today. If I had If I missed anything, I will definitely hop back on to let you all know, because I feel like this is going to be a game changer in your overall self-concept and materializing your desire instantly with the tools of the law of assumption. The law of assumption has made my life so much easier and I want to make that a reality and experience for you as well, that you can instantly experience what it is that you desire, and you don't have to feel any resistance in that matter. You could just create the imaginal experience. You could create or shift into the feeling state of already having, just by looking more closely at your beliefs and then asking yourself what you believe as true for you, and what you are experiencing as real. Like, what are you recognizing as real for you? On that note, I hope that you have a wonderful day, and I will see you on the next live. Cheers.